Welcome to Chicago Theater Review. I'm Frank, and my co-host Gail is with me today, and we have a really exciting show. As you know, earlier this year we had Remy Bombo on when they were doing their last show. What was it? The importance of being earnest. So now they're into their second part of their season, which is a season called Sacred Lives and Public Lies. So, Gail, why don't you introduce our guests?
Okay, I'm so excited when I called Stephanie and I said I'd love you guys on the show, and it all worked out. I was so excited. So, let me introduce these two people that are in the show. The name of the show is The Goat or Who is Sylvia, which we'll get into. And definitely get into that. This is Annabelle Armour, and I'm just going to give you, you're the artistic associate of Remy Bombo.
Yes.
And you have won 2 Joseph Jefferson Awards, which are, for people who don't know, that's our equivalent of the Tony Award or the Oscar. And 2 After Dark Awards. Mm-hmm. And you recently were in Home at the Zoo.
Yes.
At Victory Gardens, which you got rave reviews. I have the list kind of goes on and on of some of the shows that you've done, and people that I was with that night just said they were so looking forward to seeing you because they think that everything that you do is so phenomenal.
Thank you so much.
And next to you is Nick Sands, but it's spelled with a Y.
Spelled with a Y. Don't even ask. Right.
Okay. It's not Sandy's, it's Sands. And you're the artistic associate at Remy Bombo. And I'm just going to turn this for a second because your list of credits is very long.
Very long.
Very long. And one of the other things that you do is you are a fight choreographer.
Right.
And you got your degree from Loyola, and you also got one from Cambridge University.
Yes.
And I'm sure you all detect a little bit of a British accent.
It hasn't come out yet, but there it is. There it is.
So first of all, I have to say that this show, for anybody who's never seen it, let's talk a little bit about this. I want to thank you guys first of all because I know you have a show later, and I'm sure that you need to kind of mentally prepare for this.
Just a little.
Grueling. How many minutes is it?
100 minutes.
100 minutes, no intermission, at the Remy Bombo Theater, which is
at the Greenhouse Theater Center.
Greenhouse
Lincoln.
Theater. Yeah. Small little nice intimate theater.
2257 North Lincoln. Just so people know. You just really need to differentiate it from the biography.
We'll be repeating that again. And the play is running through May 8th. So let's kind of start with, why don't you tell us a little bit about what, we'll let you guys do your interpretation of the play. What is
The way to get into it is, why don't we first show a clip of the show,
Okay.
which will give us a little idea of what's going on.
Great.
So why don't we play that clip that we have for the show?
Now these, what the hell are these? Basic Services Limited. Basic Services Limited? Limited to what? Clarissa Atherton. Clarissa Atherton? No number, no email thing. Clarissa Atherton?
Basic Services? Clarissa Atherton, Basic Services?
Every time someone gives me one of these, I know I'm supposed to give them one back, and I don't have them. It's embarrassing.
I told you to have them made.
I don't want to.
Then don't. Who is she?
Who?
Clarissa Atherton, Basic Services. Does she smell funny?
I don't know. I don't know who she is as far as I know.
So this is at the beginning of the show.
Right. So that gives you no idea what the show's about at all.
No,
Right.
So it starts off that it basically sets it up that you are a very happy, successful married couple.
Absolutely.
And actually, the set I wanted as my own house.
It's beautiful,
I was
isn't
writing
it?
that down, going, that is one of the most beautiful homes I have ever seen.
Yes.
And people said sort of it's got a southwestern feel, and I don't think it has a southwestern because it has pottery and it has that raw wood in it. And what Tim Morrison, the set designer, really wanted to do was not only is it beautifully designed by an architect, because Martin is an architect, but it has this need for the earth and the country, and because that's what they're searching for, their perfect country home. And so that the raw wood is like old barn wood that is used just to back the shelving, which I think is a brilliant sort of artistic choice.
And I was actually taking notes going, okay, now I can put the glass because it goes in between the
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what's so
The
wonderful.
floating shelves and everything,
That's
yeah.
It was
beautiful.
so great, and so you come across as this is a perfect, loving. You can read his mind because he's most of the time confused on because his mind is someplace else all the
Right,
time.
exactly. You don't quite know where his mind is.
And
yeah.
you handle that role so beautifully. I'm going, that's like me most of the time. I'm clueless.
The sort of mad professor, right,
But
exactly.
then we find out that you have a bit of a secret.
I do, yes. Martin is having an affair with the title character, the goat.
Not Sylvia, the goat.
Right, both.
Who is it?
Sylvia is the goat.
The goat.
So yes, so that's the main thing. I mean, as most Albee plays, I mean, he sets you up. This is the only play of Albee's, as far as I know, where it's a totally happy, successful family. There's just this secret going on in one of their lives which is going to destroy it. But most of the time his families are all disjointed and dysfunctional, and so there's this really brittle sort of feeling. And that first 10-15 minutes is all about setting up how great they are together and how comfortable and clever, and they're both smart, and they have this great son who happens to be gay, and they're dealing with it, and they're fine with it, and he's a great kid. So it's that you've got this great family unit which is then destroyed, and you go on this roller coaster ride. And I think that's, for Albee, he does it always. He always sets up that feeling of, normalcy, everyday life. And it's the absurdist playwright in him, where you go, this looks like a perfectly normal day, and then the bottom drops out, and this huge existential gaping chasm opens up, and you go, oh my, where are we going?
Yeah.
And the audience sort of goes, oh, wow.
And especially it's with this play particularly, I think even I've done a number of Albees, and there's something so funny in the beginning. I mean, it starts out, especially, I mean, the art thing I think in the beginning does just really set up how close and good these two people are as a couple. But then, Ross comes in, and it gets really funny. And the way that the first scene ends, you're still laughing, even though you found out the secret, but the secret sounds funny. And then you move into the second scene, and even in the beginning, I mean, we ride this roller coaster every night of people just laughing, that finally you just have to just kind of wrangle it in, and suddenly they go down the slide with you.
It seems you're mostly on the roller coaster, because you basically are just perfectly content with this whole thing until
I wouldn't say that.
until towards the end, especially when your friend comes in and then you're dealing with your son.
Right.
But you have to deal with it the minute you get that letter.
Yeah.
It's just.
Yeah, she's off the charts.
But prior to the letter, though, you make a comment. You say, you make a comment that it's a goat. And I think just being in the audience, too, and never having seen the show, I'm like, is this just kind of a nickname for something? I mean,
Right. Is it a symbol?
you don't know at what point it really is a goat.
Right.
And it really is a goat.
It really is a goat.
And so, your comment is, well, we'll go out and get some feed for it.
Right.
Which is,
Yeah.
which is
and I
humorous, but...
Yeah, exactly. But I think for Martin, he's a powerful man. I mean, it's like a classic Greek tragedy. He is the top of his game. He's just won the Pritzker Prize, as they say, the architecture's version of the Nobel. He's just won a $200 billion contract designing the world city. I mean, it's just the most ridiculous thing. And he's just turned 50. So he is kind of the king, or whatever it is, the Oedipus, whatever, in the Greek tragedy, with this secret that is going to bring him down.
And he loves his wife.
And he loves his wife, absolutely, and he loves his kids.
And he loves his son.
The whole play is about the love of the family, not really about the goat. It's about this family and the love that they fight for. And so that they are very normal human beings to a certain extent who get to be put in this extreme situation. But I think for Martin, he knows this will not go on. He's just turned 50. His face is on the front of time. He's being filmed in a program like this, and that's on stage. So suddenly everybody's going to recognize him. So he can't be a non-entity. He's an architect. Nobody knows who the architects in the world are, except when they win the Pritzker. Yeah. And then suddenly everybody sees your face. And so he knows this life is changing, and he has to tell somebody and deal with it. So I think he's distracted because he doesn't know how to tell anybody about this. And for him, the situation is not about the sex of what's going on. That's the problem with it. Because he has convinced himself or believes that this is the only way he can describe it is in religious terms. It's an otherworldly experience. It's a love of a different kind. He cannot explain it either to other people or to himself. So he's in this complete quandary about how to explain what went on in his life. And I think that's really the point of it, that Albee has chosen something that is so out of the way that he can't explain it, that nobody can forgive it because they can't explain it. You have to be able to psychologize it, and you can't psychologize this.
Grasp hold of it.
It's so extreme.
It's also, I think, what's lovely in terms of the way it's set up and I think how we worked on the play. James Bonin, our director, he's the outgoing artistic director of Remy Bumpo this year, with Timothy Douglas coming on as our new artistic director. But this is James's, you know, his
goat song.
His
right.
goat song, yeah. And he's a brilliant, wonderful director, and very specific. Works very tightly on all the small nuances of it. And I do think that there's a wonderful setup of Martin trying to negotiate this sea and stay calm, in essence, with it, because Stevie is fighting so hard to understand.
She fights very hard. Now, you have an emotional part in this play. How do you gear up for this emotion?
It's funny, Frank, somebody asked me that the other day, and I thought, you know, you go there, because the first scene does not lead one there. And so you can't go and get like all revved up and ready to jump into this. Truthfully, what I do is get changed between the first and the second scene, and I sit back and I read the letter. And you jump off the diving board. I mean, that's what
Would
you
your
do.
emotions be just as high if it was another person? If it was another woman that he was having an affair with, or if he was having an affair with a man?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think what Stevie says in the end is absolutely true. Fall out of love with me, that's fine. Well, not fine, but that can be fixed. She talks within the play about we all prepare for jolts along the way, for inevitable lessenings, for losses, for all of that. But this is not something that you can prepare for. And so what you guys are watching is someone grappling with an unknown. This is the brick wall just fell down on her, and she's trying to climb out and figure out how to keep us alive, which is the beauty of it. They're not everybody, not every couple would even have that 45 minutes of grappling
Actually,
with it.
true honesty being spoken to
Absolutely.
one another.
Exactly.
When Martin says that
And
they've
not just
always been
walking
honest with
out.
each other.
And I love the
Yeah.
fact that the play doesn't give you an ending, in the sense of what happens to these two wonderful couples.
It's
you
your
know?
Do you think that he tells his best friend, does he really tell his best friend hoping his best friend won't say anything, or do you think there's like an underlying thing that maybe he wants his best friend to...
I think he wants to tell somebody, and he doesn't know how to tell Stevie. And so Ross turns up to do this film interview without a crew, so it opens up the chance that he can tell Ross, his best friend. Even though he expects Ross not to get it, he kind of desperately wants somebody to get it. And
Right.
Ross, who has affairs, we've decided, with many different people, has kind of an experience that way. And so he thought maybe Ross would be a good person to test this out on to a certain extent.
And he's testing it out, and that's a...
It's 100 minutes, no
I want to
intermission.
thank you all.
Thank
for
you,
being
guys.
on
I want to thank you guys because I was so excited. I think you guys are so great. And,
Well,
and
thank you. It's great to be here.
Best of
From
luck with the
Chicago
show.
Theater Review, if I can shut Gail up. This is Frank and Gail. We want to thank our guests, and we'll see you next month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.